Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and I used to think that I didn't like salmon until I had this recipe. Full disclosure, this recipe is not an original of mine. This came from Milk Street Magazine, January of 2020. One of the things I really love about Milk Street is how easy some of their recipes are to convert into keto. But this one, no conversion required. There's only 5 ingredients and it is remarkably simple. Now, if you already love salmon, you are really gonna love this recipe. And if you're like me and didn't think you liked salmon, this could change your mind. So let's go ahead and start making it. We're gonna start by creating a dry brine. We're going to want enough fresh dill that once finely chopped yields about 4 tablespoons. Next, we will take 2 tablespoons of kosher salt, put that in a bowl, and to that we will add 3 tablespoons of our chopped dill. We'll save the remaining dill to use as a garnish later. Massage the dill and salt together until the dill starts to break down. You'll feel the dill start to soften, and you're really going to smell it. And we'll set this aside while we prep our salmon fillet. Lay the salmon skin side down on a parchment-lined baking sheet. Now my fillet already has had the pin bones removed. And even if you buy one with the pin bones removed, I still like to double check just to make sure. There have been some times where I've still found a pin bone or two. Next, we're going to hit it with our dry brine. Now this serves 2 purposes. First, the dill infuses a subtle dill flavor into the salmon, but also the salt helps firm up the flesh. Pat it in gently, and try not to go too heavily on any thin parts, or they might get overly salty. Now we'll move this to the fridge for 45 to 60 minutes. Now my salmon fillet was 1.5 pounds. It's wild-caught sockeye salmon. You can use whatever type of salmon you want. Thickness, caught, farmed, whatever. In any instance, I wouldn't let the whole dry brine go longer than an hour, or you are going to start getting a sort of salty salmon. If you have a thinner fillet, like the one that I used, I would recommend only dry brining for 45 minutes. Additionally, depending on the thickness of your fillet, the cooking time is going to vary, and that is why we are going to cook by temperature using a probe thermometer. Now, while our salmon is dry brining, we're going to preheat our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 degrees Celsius. It has been 45 minutes, so now we are going to rinse off our dry brine. It's important that we get all the salt off. I'm less concerned about any leftover dill. Then we will pat our salmon dry with a paper towel and move it back to our baking pan, which has been lined with a fresh piece of parchment. We'll drizzle it with olive oil or avocado oil and then rub that in. Finally, a little fresh ground pepper to taste. Insert a probe thermometer into the thickest part of the flesh, and then it's off to our oven. And then we just let it cook for about 10 to 15 minutes or until the internal temperature reaches 112 to 115 Fahrenheit. That would be like 46 to 48 degrees Celsius. Our fish has reached a temperature of 115 degrees, so let's get it out of the oven. It's going to continue to cook with carryover cooking, and already it's gone up 3 degrees just walking it from the oven to the counter. We'll tent this with some aluminum foil and let it continue to cook until it reaches 120 degrees Fahrenheit or 48 degrees Celsius. And now we'll plate it up. The skin here is so delicate you can slice right through it with a soft edge spatula. We'll garnish it with our leftover dill and serve with a lemon wedge.
Okay. Slides right off the skin.
Pink.
There's just enough salt to really bring out the salmon flavor in it, and the dill and lemon juice They're just nice, it's subtle flavors. So the fish really shines. It's delicious. Cheers.
Hey, Colton.
Here.
What do you say?
Should we try a fish? Meat.
Ready?
Ready?
Try some of that. Okay. Are you sure? No? No salmon? What does mommy think?
It's so good. It like doesn't taste fishy at all. Cheers.
What do you think of Grandpa's steak?
Cheers.
Cheers. So the salt really firms up the salmon, and it just comes right off the skin. It's hard to believe that I used to hate salmon. This recipe is just changed. Bucky. This recipe.
Broccoli.
Oh, you're saying broccoli. So there you go, Norwegian style salmon with dill, care of Milk Street Magazine. Now, if you enjoyed this recipe, please click that like button. If you're not already a subscriber, tap subscribe and then hit the bell and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any videos. And lastly, if you'd like to help support the Serious Keto Test Kitchen, click that join button and see what memberships and perks are all about. Thanks for watching.